Hello students, in today's class we are going to study French New Wave. What is this French New Wave? French Wave is a French art film movement which emerged in the late 1950s. The movement was characterized by its rejection of traditional filmmaking conventions in favor of experimentation and a spirit of iconoclasm. So the term French New Wave, it was coined by critics for a group of French filmmakers of the late 1950s and 1960s. And it presented a film of a documentary style. And the French critics and individuals had always initiated a serious study of cinema through film journals. And the Cahiers du Cinema group had labeled the existing cinema of the 1950s in France as Daddy's cinema, pointing out the lack of social realism in these films. The tendency to remain script-led and the excess of safe psychology were some of the allegations against this type of films. The group of filmmakers belonging to the new generation, they deliberately turned away from the contemporary cinema trends of the 1950s, characterized by literary adaptations, costume dramas, and massive co-productions. And the term novella vague was originally coined in, that is, French New Wave, was originally coined in the 1950s by Francois Gregor. So the New Wave emerged in the late 1950s with Francois Truffaut's film The 400 Blows and Jean Godard's Breathless, which was taken in the year 1960. So most of the first films of this school were created by critics who belonged to the Cahiers group. Some filmmakers of the school followed the practice of criticizing the bourgeois, which credited an illusion that French New Wave was a radical and political cinema. So I am sharing the image of Jean Godard, and this is Agnes Varda, and Francois Truffaut. This is Francois Truffaut, and this is Andrea Bassin. So Francois Truffaut's 400 Blows, a famous film, and Godard's Breathless. It is also a famous film. Andrea Bassin's. He is a French film critic, and his French magazine is famous. Next theory which we are going to learn today is Italian Neo-Realism. And this is also known as the golden age of Italian cinema. This Italian Neo-Realism refers to an influential film movement which flourished in Italy during the period from 1942 to 1952. Luciano Visconti's film Obsession, which was released in 1942, actually heralded this movement. Luciano Visconti, Roberto Rossellini, and Vittorio De Sica were the pioneers of this movement. The fascist rule in Italy had imposed certain restrictions upon the film industry. It allowed only a filtered kind of production, which promoted an image of Italy which was different from reality. Crime and immorality were not allowed to be portrayed on screen. The middle-class metro drama known as the White Telephone movies were the fashion of the time. Neo-realism sprouted as a result of those restrictions which curtailed their freedom of expression. French poetic realism had a tremendous impact upon the emergence of Italian neo-realism. The film Obsession, which was released in the year 1942, was loosely based on an American pop fiction, James M. Cain's The Postman Always Rings Twice. And it was an attempt to defy the governmental decrees of decorum and propriety on screen by portraying sex and violence. So as the fascist rule came to an end in 1943, a small group of filmmakers attempted to portray the truth regarding the impoverished condition of the working class and of the urban population also. So they believed in identifying truth in the visible world and the capacity of cinema as a medium to convey that truth. These filmmakers tried to emphasize that cinema should be used for social criticism and conscience-raising purposes. So these films concentrated on poverty and unemployment, which were widespread in post-war Italy. Neo-realist films were small-budget films which employed location shooting rather than studio shooting. And these films, which were shot in natural light, followed the documentary style. For example, D.C. Carr's, Victoria D.C. Carr's 1948 film, Bicycle Thieves, is a perfect example of this type of film. Bicycle Thieves, which actually showed the hard facts of life, that is poverty, the justice shown in that movie. The film Bicycle Thieves follow the story of a poor father in the post-World War II. So this is Victoria D.C. Carr, shot from Bicycle Thieves. This is Bono, character in that movie, and this is father and son, Bicycle Thieves. So the film follows the story of this poor father in the post-World War II. That is searching for his stolen bicycle, without which he will lose the job. And this character's name is Antonio Ricci. He is desperate for a job to support his family, and he is offered a position of posting advertising, but the job requires a bicycle. So Maria, his wife, takes her bed sheets to the pawn shop and gets enough money for bicycle. And on his first day of work, Antonio was on the top of a ladder when a young man snatches his bicycle away. So this is Antonio. He chases him in vain. The police officer prepares a report but warns that there is little he can do. So Antonio searches for the bicycle in a stolen goods market with his son Bruno. So this is Bruno. I can show you a clear image. This is Bruno, Antonio's son, Bruno. So Antonio, he searches for the bicycle in a stolen goods market with his son Bruno. So at the market, Antonio and his son Bruno spot the thief and they follow the thief to his apartment. Antonio and Bruno bring a policeman, but they cannot find the cycle in his apartment. The policeman tells Antonio that the case is weak. Antonio has no witness and the neighbors support the thief. So Antonio and Bruno walk away in despair to jeers and threats from the crowd. So Antonio now sees rows of bicycles await their owners. He finds an unattended bicycle near a doorway. And he tells his son Bruno to take the streetcar and wait at a street called Sacro. So Antonio cycles the unattended bicycle, summons his courage and jumps on it. But he was unfortunately caught by the mob. Bruno, who has missed the streetcar, is stunned to see his father surrounded, pulled from the bike, slapped and insulted, his hat knocked off. So, as Antonio is being taken to the police station, the owner notices Bruno, who is carrying Antonio's hat. In a moment of compassion, the owner tells others to release Antonio. So, Antonio and Bruno walk slowly off amid a buffering crowd. So, the film's final shot of Antonio and Bruno walking away from the camera into the distance is a homage to Charlie Chaplin, who was D.C. a favorite filmmaker. And D.C. box office failure, Umberto D, marked the end of Neo-Realism. So Italian Neo-Realism had influenced many emerging national cinemas, including the Latin American and the Indian New Wave cinema. So French New Wave and the British New Wave also owe a lot to the Italian Neo-Realist movement. And this is for the day. Meet you next class. Thank you.